Hello everybody, Travis here for Tpull's Corner, and they gave us a lot of red, didn't they? I've been playing with this deck for more than a week and I realized I haven't shared it with you yet, so tonight we will debut it. It's nighttime where I am in my time zone anyway. We do need a certain amount of land. This is a 4-color deck, so that makes it difficult to navigate. After the Great Rotation, we no longer have the Tri-Lands of Streets of New Capenna. So we make do with this. This is all we got. And it can be bad when I'm up to turn 4 and I still don't have a spell I can cast. But we need... I could do white or I could do red. I think we do the red. Red lets us go get more basic lands and lets us do a board wipe one and if we need to. Which we might need to soon.
Stopping! I'll never forget the home we lost.
This way, I definitely make my land drop each turn at the very least. Well, Railway Brawler comes down. If I want to take them out with Temple Firestorm, I need them not to be too powerful. So find a land first. 2 lands, that's perfect. That's excellent. Becomes a 4/4. Neither one can attack right now. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lands. And to save my Planeswalkers from losing loyalty, I need a little bit more. 3, 4, 6, 7. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to play this. I'm going to cast this... No, wait. I'm going to use Koth first to go get another...
We have the high ground.
Basic mountain. And then I can cast this, and we kick it once with our white mana.
That's enough.
Hey! Why oh, I clicked the wrong one. I clicked the left side. Lost a lot of loyalty points on Koth. That's how bad one misclick can be for you. Alright, so in that case, we bring down Ren. In Realmbreaker instead, we fix our mana.
In the tangle, I see a path to victory.
Go get another basic mountain. And then we use the point of the deck. Urza assembles the Titans. Liliana. Excellent. We'll keep everything else. Why did... what is wrong with me? I thought I put that on top so I could draw it.
Please, buy us more time.
This is going to be interesting if I still manage to win after making 2 mistakes in a row. But we got rid of all of Rubber Ducky's creatures so far. That has haste. They can attack the Planeswalker, but they can't get rid of the Planeswalker. They don't attack the Planeswalker. Well, I don't want to put down anybody. I do want to get rid of Ruby, Daring Tracker. Because there's already been one other one, so it's a safe bet that there's 4 of them total in the deck. Plus we get to look at what they have. They don't. After already having 2 rubies, they don't have another ruby. They do have Gruff Triplets, though, which is pretty bad. For us. Alright, so we go get another mountain.
Never forget the home we lost.
We go ahead and attack them for 3.
Allies everywhere. Stand with us.
And the next turn's going to be fun. They don't have anything with haste, right? They could put down 5 1/1s. And they've got their own Planeswalker. You know what? We can do this now. Let's get rid of Fortune Loyalty. One more of those. Take it. Okay, we can activate the loyalties twice. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we pay the full cost for this. Thank you, Wrenn and Realmbreaker, for allowing us to do that. We go get another mountain. We get to activate this twice, so we then do an emblem. Whenever a mountain enters, 4 damage to any target. Play the land.
Fight for Mirrodin.
Mountain takes out Magma.
Mirrodin fights for us.
Then we destroy 1 enchantment. Then we destroy another enchantment.
Phyrexia is the future.
And then we have 2 untapped lands, and we can use Wrenn and Realmbreaker twice.
Please, buy us more time.
To attack for 6 points.
Break free and fight.
And life is good. Oh, they just don't know what's going to happen next. Oh, they just don't know.
We fight together.
What do we want to do? So many choices. 2 points there.
We have the high.
I am finished running.
4 points there.
I cannot let hope die.
1 point there.
I never felt alone.
1 point there. And then we can still do stuff like this.
Beckons to all worlds.
Now I don't have trample here yet, so they could still bring down 5 1/1s, right? Better than just bringing down a single creature. But we do have 1 permanent in the graveyard, so we've got another fun thing to have happen here. First, we get rid of the little chumps, so they can't chump block. Oh, sorry, we got to do the land first.
I must fight back.
Fight beside us.
You know what's happened to all my enemies? They're toast.
They're not waiting for it. Alright, let's go in and show you the deck, and we are going to start talking about the greater elements of Magic the Gathering. And I'm going to continue to do gameplay while we do it. So this one's called Planeswalkers Assemble. And it's a Super Friends deck based on Planeswalkers. It's based around this card, Urza Assembles the Titans. I've made a deck about this previously. You might have to go back a couple months on the videos. But it was a mono-white deck. And it was fine, you know, it had the white Planeswalkers, but there were some aspects of the loyalty abilities of one or more Planeswalkers that weren't ideal for the rest of the deck. But it was still a very fun deck. So then I thought, what about all the other colors? So the only white spell that I have, really, I mean, I have a Johnny, and that's got the blended mana. I forget the term for. Hybrid mana. That's what it's called. So technically, I just need 1 white mana for that, and we've got the same type of mana there for Leyline of the Guildpact. But other than that, I've got this splash of white, mostly for Urza Assembles the Titans. And everything else is a Planeswalker for the most part, except for the interaction. And that way, when we scry 4, we don't whiff that often, as far as trying to find a Planeswalker. If I'm not misclicking, what I usually tend to do is take one of those Planeswalkers, put them on top, get it straight up in my hand, and then the next turn, we get to put it down on our battlefield for free. And it's just, I don't know if it's a win more device, but what typically tends to happen is I'll win one battle, and then Arena doesn't give me any more land for a while. Like I'll get 1 land for, the entire match for the next two rounds in a row. But here's the rest of the deck. We've got 2 copies of Liliana of the Veil. Make them discard or sacrifice a creature. We've got 1 Malicious Eclipse to get rid of the 1/1s and the 2/2s. Those would all be exiled. 4 copies of Wrenn and Realmbreaker. This is to help me fix my mana, right? Lands you control, tap them and add 1 mana of any color. And right now we've got 62 cards, 26 lands. So the 2 extra cards that I have in here are lands. And it's an expensive deck, 4.4 average. So if they come at us with nothing but a bunch of 1/1s, they'll probably kill us. For removal, I've got 1 Consuming Ashes, because it allows me to surveil as needed. 4 copies of the End. We can exile a creature or a Planeswalker, but we also get to search their graveyard, their hand, and the library for any other cards that are the same name, and we can exile all of them at once. That's kind of cool. If it's in their hand, we still get to exile it, but they do get to draw a card to replace it. That's typical of cards like this. We've got 2 copies of Jaya, Fiery Negotiator. We're usually using the +1 just to create a red monk creature token with prowess. That's usually a chump blocker to help keep things stabilized on the battlefield until we can get an advantage. But we can also exile the top 2 cards of our library and play 1. And when we're attacking, if we have a lot of attacking creatures, we can choose a target creature an opponent controls, and Jaya deals damage equal to the number of attacking creatures. So if we attack with 4 creatures, we're automatically dealing 4 points of damage to that creature before we get to the part where the creatures trade their combat damage. 4 copies of Koth. Here's another way to sort of fix my mana to a certain degree. Usually using the +2 for the most part just to make sure that I hit a basic land for my land draw every turn. It might not be the right color, but if we have Wrenn and Realmbreaker out, it will automatically be the right color. We also have 1 copy of Leyline of the Guildpact, and that does the same thing that Wrenn and Realmbreaker does for me. All the non-permanent lands that I have, all the lands are every basic land type in addition to their other types. And if this is in our opening hand, we get to throw it onto the battlefield at the very beginning. Besides the Urza Assembles the Titans Enchantment Saga, we also have a Johnny Sleeper Agent. His +1 is reveal the top card of your library. If it's a creature or Planeswalker card, put it into your hand. So yet another way for us to search through our deck and dig through those powerful Planeswalkers. What's really cool, every now and then you'll come across the YouTube channel and they're really down on Magic the Gathering. They have nothing positive to say, and they talk about how crappy the expansion sets are and stuff like that. The thing I like about this is the completed Planeswalker. Okay, so it's a Johnny, but he's been converted over to the side of Phyrexia. But the abilities of a Johnny, whether he started as mono white or the blending of white and green, he's always been a helper. His abilities have always been about cooperating with others, and many times in ways that help out his fellow Planeswalkers. So the fact is that his +1 here, it helps out Planeswalkers. It can be creatures or Planeswalkers, but they didn't ignore that aspect. Even after he's completed, he still found a way to help out Planeswalkers. His -3 is to distribute 3 +1 counters to up among 3 target creatures. And again, that's sort of being an assist, using his magic to help others. And for the -6, you get an emblem. Whenever you cast a creature or Planeswalker spell, target opponent gets 2 poison counters. And so that represents the Phyrexian tainted part of him, the completed portion, where instead of helping you, he poisons you. So I think this is a really great example of design. It gives us a new version of a Johnny as a Planeswalker, but it's different because he's been completed. It successfully combines his traditional abilities in a way that is good and entertaining and fun and not repetitive, and yet still gives us that poison stuff at the end, which blends in the Phyrexian influence. So I think this is an example of a really well-designed card, and part of the reason I like the set of Dominaria United. It shows, I mean, the art, of course, is as excellent as always, but I think this is a good example of excellent design in Magic. They're working hard, they're doing well, they're putting out good sets, and they're putting out cards like this. This is like a primo card. It's not used a lot, but I appreciate the design of things like this. So sorry for the aside on that. I'll get back to the Enchantment Saga in a second. We've got Deadly Cover-Up. This one is kind of cool because it gives me a board wipe instead of just single point removal like the end. But we can do the similar thing with the end, but with a slightly different advantage. When we cast the spell, we can also collect evidence to the number of 6, which means we exile cards from our graveyard until we reach the total mana value of those cards of 6 or more. Once we exile those cards, we destroy all the creatures on the board. Then we get to go into their graveyard and select a card. We can search their graveyard, hand, and library, similar to the end, for any number of cards with the same name and exile them. Now, the issue is it doesn't have to be a creature or a planeswalker like the end is. It can be something else. So let me pull up real quick a nice little card. Its color is green. Converted mana value is 3. And the type is a sorcery. Look at this card, Slime Against Humanity. It gives you creatures, right? And you get to put +1/+1 no matter if they're in exile, in the graveyard, whatever. I can, and I have used this card in a match, Deadly Cover-Up, when they were playing Slime Against Humanity. And all they had was a bunch of Slime Against Humanities for the most part. And it wouldn't do me any good to exile a single card because the card is a token creature once it gets to the battlefield. So the end is almost worthless to me. But I had one of them that was on the field, and of course there were more copies in the graveyard already. That's the way that those decks are usually designed. And so I was able to exile the sorcery that was in the graveyard, and I got rid of about 12 other cards from the person's library, and they weren't able to play Slime Against Humanity against me anymore. So that's one of the reasons why I have at least one copy of this card in here. I have All But Will Be One. That's a nice little enchantment. It's just mostly because I have Planeswalkers and we're getting loyalty counters. Every time you add a loyalty counter, just one, it'll be a point of damage that I can put anywhere against anything that I want. It can be a target opponent, creature and opponent controls, or Planeswalker opponent controls. You cannot hit your own stuff, just so you know. If I don't misclick, we have Temporal Firestorm, which does 5 points of damage to creatures and planeswalkers. But if I have the right color mana, I can kick it once or twice, and I can save 1 or 2 of the planeswalkers and phase them out so they don't get dealt the damage. You just got to pay attention a little bit more closely when you're choosing the option to make sure you click the right section, because I did do 5 damage to Koth. Poor guy. We have Invasion of Tovada, 3 copies of this one from March of the Machines. When it enters, return target non-battle permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So, because my mana is so difficult, I can easily get some of these really expensive cards and have no way to cast them. I've got a couple of ways to surveil in here. I'll have to throw those in the graveyard. This allows me to bring them back. Also, I've got a nice little combo with Invasion of Tovada and Urza Assembles the Titans, which I can just cast this and bring this back, and use this again if this is in my graveyard. And that is usually a devastating combo. We have Vraska Betrayal Sting. We can have draw a card, lose 1 life, and proliferate. So all of the planeswalkers will get +1 on their loyalty counters. We're usually using it for target removal at first. Target creature becomes a treasure artifact. They lose all other card types and abilities. The opponent gets to keep and use that treasure artifact. And then -9, if target player has fewer than 9 poison counters, they get a number of poison counters equal to the difference. There is an alternate win scenario we have here where we could do -9, give them 9 poison counters, and then here, if we could get a Johnny's Emblem, we could get the final 2 poison counters and kill them with just these 2 creatures in a good little spell. We have 3 copies of Chandra Hope's Beacon. We have lots of neat stuff we can do with this. We can add 2 mana in any combination of colors. In case we don't have Ran and Realmbreaker or Leyline, this is a really good mana fixer. I've used this already in my testing. You can exile the top 5 cards of your library, cast an instant or sorcery from among those exiled cards. So if we're up against something really tough and we need to find an End or Consuming Ashes or Deadly Cover-Up, that kind of thing, or a Temporal Firestorm, this may be our last chance to do it with the +1. Or we do the -X, deals X damage to each of up to 2 targets. So if her loyalty's 7, we got 2 7/7s coming at us next turn. We could hit the -7. We'd lose Chandra, but we do 7 points of damage to each of those 2 creatures. And 1 copy of Nissa Ascended Animist, also a completed Planeswalker. Starts with loyalty 7, although if you don't have enough mana, you can use the 2 Phyrexian mana, pay 2 life points apiece. So you can bring her down for 5 and pay 4 life. But if you do that, she's only going to come in with loyalty 5. We're usually using her to destroy target artifacts or enchantments, but we can also do a +1, create a Phyrexian Horror creature token you see featured there to the right, where X is her loyalty. So that's the deck. Let me go back to Urza Assembles the Titans. Chapter 1, you scry 4, reveal the top card of your library. If a Planeswalker is revealed that way, you put it into your hand. Chapter 2, you may put a Planeswalker card with mana value 6 or less from your hand onto the battlefield. That means we can put in everything except for Nissa, because we can't use Phyrexian mana when it's still in our hand in terms of looking at the mana value, right? That's going to be 7 mana value whenever any other card in Magic is looking at it. So we can put any other Planeswalker directly from our hand into the battlefield. And then Chapter 3 is awesome. Activate the loyalty abilities of Planeswalkers you control twice. And we're going to see what Arena lets us get away with in this Super Friends deck I call Planeswalkers Assemble. As we search, we ask you to like and subscribe. And I will tell you the reason I'm playing a Planeswalker deck right now. If you want to blame anyone, you can blame Wizards of the Coast. Because for a hot second there, they made us think that we weren't going to have Planeswalkers around for much longer. Hello, I am prepared to lose. Let me go ahead and put down... I don't have a turn 2 anyway, so this might be a land. I don't want to waste a Surveil if there's already a land there. That was perfect. Now I will Surveil next. Or I will do this, get the right color I wanted, and still manage to Surveil. This lets me put down Liliana. Excellent. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Okay. Start here. Put down Liliana. Get rid of this creature.
Fight? And you think you can win? Off you go.
Opponent likes our Savvy, our Moxie. They might have something that just blasts Liliana. No, they just leave. Okay. Did not expect that. It's possible they got land starved. They only did put down 2 lands so far. I usually like to pretend that it's just my name that they recognize or my quick ability. Sometimes it's just they get their draw and they didn't get the 3rd land they needed. And they leave. I still want some end of game, end of match ability where we can tell each other, you know, oh, I'm leaving because I'm land starved, or, you know, or they press a button and reveal the cards that they had in their hand. That type of stuff I think would be very useful. Okay, we've got a couple of removal options here. We also have to worry about counter spells. Always a big pain against this deck. We're not going to cast anything yet. Interesting. All they do is they gain 2 life and replace the card. Feels like a waste of potential there. We might take a risk on bringing Koth out. For all I know, they're going to have just a ton of things they can do when they get enough lands. We can't just sit here and do nothing but draw land the entire match. Okay, counter spells. That's what we're up against. Liliana's good to cast then, because we still draw the card out. Interesting.
Nobody knows Dominaria's shadows like me.
I don't want to lose any of my cards right now. I'm going to let that stay. If they want to put down a creature, they can. How about Ren and Realmbreaker? They let that go too?
Be swift. We haven't much time. Allies everywhere. Stand with us.
If they're not going to have any creatures, I could discard the Malicious Eclipse. It would also mean that I could get rid of the duplicate Liliana. And maybe if they did have something to remove a Planeswalker, I could still bring the Planeswalker back once I got enough land. Ooh. They exiled my Planeswalker. With another cease and desist. The third cease and desist. Well, that's kind of good. I'm glad they're using that one now. Because I kind of want stuff in my graveyard. I was looking at bringing Koth back, actually. I can't do that now. Wow, they use that to destroy a land? This seems a little strange to me. They used it to get rid of all of my mountains. Oh, that's an interesting trick. I didn't know you could do that. Yeah, I learn something new every day. I still have access to red. We'll keep Chandra, I guess. Let's get rid of the extra Liliana. They see every card in our hand right now. They do have creatures. See if they want to get rid of another one.
And fight.
Do you have another deadly cover-up you want to use? I only have one Raucous Theater in my entire deck, so it's if they want to do that trick with the land again, it's not the worst thing in the world. Let's try this. They know we have it. If they're just sitting on a bunch of counter spells, this should be a big enough threat to them. Yep. And it is. They throw away land. We won't actually give them a target this time. We'll just plus up Ren and Realmbreaker.
I must
And
fight back.
Drop it.
let's discard Chandra, because we can't afford to spend. We don't have 6 mana yet. They get rid of Go for the Throat, which is cheap removal. That might come in handy later if we get the 1/1s out from Jaya. But they made the correct choice right now. It's not very useful right now. And if they can't remove Liliana, then it doesn't matter if they have a Shieldred, because they'd lose it the very next turn. So, yeah, the reason why I'm doing this is, first of all, I did want to have the... Oh, hello. They got rid of Ren and Realmbreaker.
Everywhere.
This is a mirror match. I have Deadly Cover-Up, they have Deadly Cover-Up. I have the end, they have the end. I don't have the right color mana now for that. I can bring down this. It would be kind of interesting. They do have another counter spell.
You won't be
Get rid of your last
outsmarting
card.
me.
There we go. So do you surveil and then take sucky cards because you know I'm going to make you discard with Liliana? Or do you surveil and draw some good stuff? It looks like they're going to try and draw some good stuff. And it worked for them. Jaya gives me the creatures.
1,000 years and they never learn not get out there and blaze a path.
They're ready for Planeswalkers. They've got the End can target Planeswalkers, Sheoldred's Edict can target Planeswalkers.
The experience will do you good.
It would be nice if we would draw some land at some point. We did mention Go for the Throat would come in handy later, didn't we? How many? Let's see. They've gotten rid of most of my ability to fix my mana. Koth doesn't help me out quite as much anymore because all of my mountains are gone. What are they going to destroy? That's it? Okay, what card are they going to go look for? Liliana, Chandra, they're going to look for Liliana. Liliana's the big threat, huh? Well, I've gone through half my deck, and so have they. I think they already got rid of the 2 Lilianas I had, so they didn't get anything extra out of that. Not the right color mana, but
Go on.
we can now afford
Impress
that.
me.
And I feel like we just
No
pump her
idea
up.
who you're messing with. Here, have a gift.
What can we bring back? We can bring back Urza Assembles the Titans. Life is good. Restless Reef.
There's still hope.
There goes Chandra. 3 copies of that. How many? So we've got 2 Deadly Cover-Ups, and how many of the copies of the End? Just 2 copies of the End they've used so far. That's some nice pump-ups. Let's do this. They can mill me.
You're no match for my students.
Let's just go ahead and hit him. If they have nothing better to do, they'll power up Restless Reef. Yeah, there you go. I kind of like that. I think they might have done me a favor. As long as this isn't yet another counterspell they've top decked. Five points to their face, and we get a Nissa. Comes in with 7 loyalty counters.
Sentinel.
It's okay, so we lose Nissa. But the 12 damage are on the stack. So they can't stop the 12 damage. Life is good. There's one more.
Oh, the experience will do you good.
We're so close to getting them killed, we won't go after the battle. And they give it up. That was 3 copies of the end they came through. That was fun. That was tough. They exiled half my deck. That's what I call a fight. Planeswalkers used to just mean you and me. We're supposed to be the Planeswalkers. Planeswalkers didn't exist when the game first came out in the game. They got the... Ooh, Leyline is in our opening hand. That means we'll have no problems with our land colors. We just need to draw land. Eventually they got into their head, Planeswalkers are very powerful. If they could come up with a good design, they would make a good addition to the game. And they originally designed them that they were a little bit more like the enchantment sagas, where you have chapter 1, 2, and 3 and everything. Oh, of course we just missed a land drop. We just won a very exciting battle last turn, so of course we can't be allowed to have any land. Thank you, Arena. Thank you, Arena. Missed 2 land drops in a row. So they decided that that was not intelligent enough because it was just so prescriptive. Like they would just do the 1, 2, 3 and you would automatically repeat everything. And that's 3 land drops in a row. And I think I mentioned this at the very beginning of the video. If I win too much with this deck, Arena gets back at me. She gets revenge. I'm calling it a she. I feel like Arena is female. I don't know why. Just like people always name their boats after females, probably. But, yeah, if I win, Arena just stops dealing me land. It's like land does not exist for me. I have all sorts of neat cards I can play. There's a tap land, at least. Yeah, that's way too expensive. Goodbye. They don't have anything in the graveyard yet, right? Do we use Malicious Eclipse, or do we just leave it there for a minute? So anyway, they changed the design of the Planeswalkers. They ended up bringing in Enchantment Sagas later, and they kind of used what they had been designing Planeswalkers for as the design for Enchantment Sagas. They just hardcast that puppy. No creatures in the graveyard. And they're tapped out. Wow, they're gonna mill me now?
Surrender every last
I'm kind of surprised at that. But you know what? We didn't get any land. So yeah. We'll just throw that away, I guess. Because that costs 5. Yeah, I was actually expecting at some point to get one more land. I guess that's not going to happen. Thank you, Arena. I was thinking about using my newfound editing skills to edit these kind of battles out, but I really want you all to see what Arena does to me in Revenge. That I'm not making this up. That we don't cut. We don't stop recording. We just take what Arena gives us. And we have an extremely coincidental land starvation after we have a really good battle. And instead of giving me land, let's see, what's this, like turn 6? So I've missed 4 land drops. It's turn 7 for me, so I got to go first, right? I've missed 4 land drops so far, and they've given me not land, but the most expensive card in my deck. And I'm pretty much dead. I don't want to say good game because it's not a good game because I got 1 land for the entire match. It's not because my opponent is particularly skilled. It's because I won the last match. And it is just astounding coincidental how often I get land started like that. With this deck, even more so than the others, when I win too much. And usually winning too much is winning once. But I think we've won twice already, right? So anyway, Planeswalkers. Planeswalkers proved to be a very excellent design, very flashy, exciting creatures. The Magic fan base fell in love with them. And they ended up doing stuff like War of the Spark, where they're like, oh, we're going to use like 100 Planeswalkers all in one expansion set. Well, it wasn't quite 100, but Planeswalkers have become the star of the show in Magic the Gathering. But there's a problem with that. We're going to bring this out now. Use Phyrexian mana, pay the 2 life. See if this is a counterspell deck or not. And it is. Good to know. So the problem... Hello. The problem that's developed is over the last few years, Urza assembles the Titans. Yeah, I think I could use that one. I could also use Chandra, I think. Let me look at my mana. Green. No, I guess by necessity I have to do Ren first. And we've got time there. Let's see, 4, 5, 6. Yeah. Let's just have that. No, I've got Consuming Ashes ready. Let's do it this way. Okay, I think I've ordered them the way I want them this time. Reveal the top of my library. We get a card draw for free. Well, not free. We spent 5 mana to do everything, but you know what I mean. We're not going to cast Ren and Realmbreaker, so I don't have to worry about counterspells. Chapter 2 is going to put it right on the battlefield for me next turn. Although I could do Chandra, but no. We stick to our plan.
I will give you all the time I can muster.
We'll just exile the Overlord. Hit him for 3, get him back down to 20.
Break free and fight!
So yeah, Planeswalkers became the star of the show. Novels were written about them. They were either the center of the entire issue, or if there was an issue going on, because Planeswalkers could travel the multiverse, they were drawn into it. And they don't hang around. I thought that could be another exciting match. They were playing Duskmourn. They had powerful creatures already. Oh well. And the thing that's become an issue over the years is because they've always been concerned about the design space of Planeswalkers. Like, how many versions of Chandra have there been? We've got like 6, 7 different versions of the Planeswalker. They seem to be getting a little repetitive in that sense. So I don't think there'd be a big problem. I think they could just create new Planeswalkers. You know, they're creative people. But there is concern about running out of design space, that there is a limit there. There's another concern. So they announced relatively recently that they're cutting back on the amount of Planeswalkers in sets. There's only going to be, I think they said, 1 Planeswalker per set. And that will sort of help preserve their specialness, their uniqueness in the place of Magic the Gathering. But there's another reason that this is going to happen. I don't have the right colors to cast the spell I want to cast, so we might be in trouble. It all depends on what colors we get for our mana generation, or if we miss a land drop. This might be a soldier tribal, which it's not the biggest deal if they miss a land drop. Now I have one of each of my 4 colors, which you think would be awesome. But as I said, this deck is difficult to navigate. You notice I need 2 white, 2 black, 2 red, 2 green. I need 2 of each color to cast good spells. And we missed a land drop. And I think that means we get rid of... Shoot, I don't want to get rid of that, but we could get that back theoretically with Invasion of Tavada later. I really just need 1 more land of any color and I can start doing stuff. So they're starting to get their land and I'm missing a land drop. So in this story that's happened in the last couple of years, we had Phyrexia All Will Be One in March of the Machines. They invaded the multiverse. The Planeswalkers took the brunt of the damage, it seems like. And a lot of them have lost their spark. And their ability to travel in the multiverse, of course, is lost if they lose their spark. And, you know, we won last match, so we're not getting land. That's just the way it's going to be. It's happening a second time in a row. This pattern repeats itself. Again, I'm not going to edit it out. You all get to see the reality of what Arena does to me. I don't know if Arena does this to other people. But as I said, it's most egregious with this deck in particular, more than any I can remember in recent history. If I have a nice win, then they don't give me the land that I need. As you can see, we're going to die. They did it just right. Right? They've got just enough creatures. They've got lethal damage. Arena tempted me. Oh, you have a nice 4-color deck. We'll give you 1 of each color, and then you're done. You can't cast a single spell through the entire match, Travis. Our opponent just obliviously carries on. None the wiser. So now they're in a pickle, it seems at first, because you don't have as many Planeswalkers to travel the multiverse. That kind of restricts your stories. But then they decide, oh, the Omen Pass. Anybody can use the Omen Pass. What do you need Planeswalkers for anymore? Now Planeswalkers are functionally useless, right? I mean, if anybody can use the Omen Pass, and the biggest special thing that Planeswalkers could do was travel between dimensions, and now everybody can travel between dimensions through an open path. Planeswalkers aren't so special anymore, are they? So we have a nice convenience in the story in that there aren't many Planeswalkers left at precisely the time when they're no longer needed. What a coincidence. It's not coincidence. It was purposefully planned and written that way because of Commander format. Commander was not created by Wizards of the Coast. Commander was created by a bunch of judges who had a lot of experience with D&D, and they created something they called EDH, Elder Dragon something or other. I think I want to wait and be greedy and use this when they have something else. Ooh. I'm gonna lose half of my life just like that. That's tough. Alright. We'll have to use Malicious Eclipse now. But Commanders become more and more popular every year, and Wizards went from identifying it to, oh, I'm just going to die from Painlands? Oh, no, I'm going to die right there just like that. Look at that, Arena. Arena gave them just the most perfect thing, didn't they? No, we'll throw that in the garbage, because that's all red. We'll kill Shieldred. Probably should have used it to collect evidence. One more Pain Land and I'm dead. I don't have much in the way of life gain. They can activate that next turn, right? I guess we try this. They are really taking their time, aren't they?
This fight is
We
for
go look for a
every
mountain.
Mirren who's fallen by my side.
We wait as they decide what they're going to do. we lose the Planeswalker. Okay. Isn't it interesting that there's so many Sheoldred's Edicts flying around
Have the high
while I'm
ground.
playing my Planeswalker deck? Okay. Next. We play our next Koth. How many of these do you have that you've been holding on to? They don't even know I have Invasion of Tavada, do they?
If there can be no victory,
But they're making sure to
then I
exile
will
every
fight
single
forever.
thing.
I'll shape the earth itself.
Mondrak. Okay. Isn't it interesting? My deck is very much concerned with getting stuff out of the graveyard. And they've got something, they can exile something from it every single turn. Okay, so 3, 5. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. We play Invasion of Tavada. We get something they were going to exile from our graveyard back. We go to Chapter 2 immediately. We put a Planeswalker with 6 value or less straight onto the battlefield. We use that to get rid of Mondrak.
As inevitable as the rise of the downtrodden. Gaze into
And then we go get another mountain.
I'll never forget the home we lost.
I'm not putting the land down. I can't use her +1, I'll lose life and die. They can afford to lose some life. Don't mind that one bit. Okay, so next. Chandra, who's speaking?
I will burn Phyrexia to ash.
Promise?
Use it wisely.
Okay, we get rid of Banalish Sleeper. We get an emblem.
I see you, little pest.
We go get another mountain.
Blood-soaked land is on my side. We have the high ground.
We start playing the mountain. We subtract 1 from Chandra. Bring them back down to 20. Convert our battle. This gives us lifelink,
When I say burn, you burn.
which is the thing we most desperately need in the entire game. Then, we use the 2 that we did earlier. I don't think we need more land at this point. I do kind of like having that. I like all of those things. We'll just keep them in that order. We didn't get any planeswalkers. So we actually whiffed on a planeswalker search. But I feel like we've done enough for one turn. They get double card draw. Okay, they got rid of our life link. So, target non-land permanent. Who do you go for? You go for my source of life gain. That makes sense. Don't forget to exile something from my graveyard. Oh yeah, you can't have that lying around. Okay, they're tapping out as much as they can. They're doing absolutely everything they can. What is that, Ward 2? I think we put this down. Yes.
Fighting everything with fire burns all your bridges.
4 damage. We pay for it. We're not using the end in case they bring over another Shieldred. They've got Shieldred the Apocalypse. I need 2 black mana ready for that. Okay, what do I do next? -5. I'm getting this back. I'm not waiting. I need it back now.
You're toast.
There we go.
Get out there and blaze a path.
I'm not going to search for that. I've got the emblem. I'm good with everything this turn. All of my tokens have lifelink. If they can't get rid of 2 of them, and they can't do me that 1 damage, I have a chance to survive this after all. Ooh, that's a good card. That's a tough card. Let's see, whenever another creature dies. Okay, so we do this now. We exile it. Oh, shoot, I should have waited. I could have exiled them both. That's a mistake.
Gonna get scorching hot.
But we get to search through their deck. They don't have another one of those. Yet again, they only have 1 of each of these things. Isn't that interesting? I'm using the end, which takes out 4 copies, and I keep coming across, so coincidentally, all of these decks with extra cards and all of their mythic rare creatures all happen to be single one-offs. That's fine. We're going to get rid of Vraska.
Your days are numbered. Just cause.
they exile that before I can bring it back. It's interesting they chose to exile Urza Assembles the Titans, because you know what we're going to do? This is going to be fun. We're going to go get the only permanent target. We're going to go get Vraska back. Let's see. Copy this. Doesn't matter what. Just do it twice. I'm not actually going to use that mana. We're just activating it. We'll activate this twice.
Oh, the experience will do you. You're no match for my students.
And now we attack. That one to convert that a second time. We get some life gain. No, we can't. I messed up. This thing still prevents us from gaining life, so we're stuck at 1 this entire time. Tells you how often I've only gone up against this like 2 times before this. Okay, so a single pain land will still kill us. Well, they've used 3 of them, so there's only 1 more. So that's not bad. Sacrifice 3 non-land permanents. I'm not sure that's a big problem. But actually, we've got lethal already, don't we? They have lifelink. I need to get rid of that. I don't come up against Valgavoth very often yet either.
Gaze into my eyes.
Taught them everything they know.
Let's go big.
Now we can go look for another mountain.
I'll shake the earth itself.
4 damage. And we do this again. Only thing is I messed up a lot. I can bring that down now, though. I can fix it. Okay. In case they have 1 point of damage. In case they have that 4th pain land.
Time to light up the darkness.
We just go straight to their face.
I'm all out of fuel.
You
You're
can see that
toast.
card. We don't get to see that card. We don't. That might have been. They said good game, but they know we didn't attack. Did they know we could kill them, or were they going to kill us with that 1 point? Grievous Wound is a disgusting card. Just because you also can't gain life anymore at the exact same time. It seems slightly overpowered. Okay, so where were we in our story, our discussion of Planeswalkers? Commander is getting more popular. Wizards of the Coast went from identifying and recognizing Commander as a legitimate format to saying, hey, why don't we make some Commander decks for the players? That went wildly successful and soon became a runaway train, and soon it became an annual event that Wizards was creating Commander products every single year. And it's infected the rest of Magic the Gathering, which is a problem because the requirements for that format are drastically different than the original intention of how Magic the Gathering was created. Not that I have a problem playing Commander. Commander's fun. But the core of the game, when Magic came out in Alpha, it was not designed for Commander. It was designed for play between 2 people. And now there are relatively new constructs such as the Casual Play Group, which designs cards and gets a cut on every expansion now. In terms of how can we make this more fun for casual play? And when we say casual play, we mean, make no mistake, Commander. So the card designs have been skewed the last few years, increasingly more towards being fitting for Commander and more towards being, how do we want to say? Let's see, hang on, does this do damage to me? No, okay. It's a haste deck, so we might lose Liliana. But
Those who get in my
if we
way
get rid of this
tend
now,
to regret it.
that's at least
Sacrifices
2
must
points
be made.
against the quick deck that we're saving ourselves from. So we saw this in Thunder Junction recently, where there was just an amazing number of legendary creatures. Beyond all that you would normally expect to make sense in a regular mainstream Magic expansion set. That is wrong for me, right? No, hang on. I can't put out Ren and Realmbreaker either, so I don't have the right colors. I need land.
Drop it.
Got rid of Cheeky House Mouse. Not the most dangerous threat. But they can give double strike to... Manifold Mouse can give double strike to itself, right? So they can still kill Liliana next turn. Do I use the end? No, they put out Hardfire Hero. They can't give haste to it, right? Flying and Lifelink. No, just 2/2. They just make it a 4/4. They still kill Liliana.
Now you've got my attention. Oh, that's my cue to leave.
Do you have 4 copies of Hardfire Hero? Yes, finally! What else are we dealing with? Demonic Ruckus, Emberheart Challenger, of course, Cheeky, Flower, and Monstrous Rage and Might of the Meek. Okay. Well, we got rid of 4 creatures off of what is mostly a mono-red aggro deck. But we have 2 more, and they have plenty of instants. But we didn't know they had Manifold Mouse in her hand at the time when we did that. Yeah, so Commander has become popular enough of a format. Enough people have played it. Wizards of the Coast has been tracking those metrics. They have drank the Kool-Aid, and they went all in on Commander. And so they're constantly looking at cards through the lenses of a Commander format now. And that's not necessarily to the benefit when you're designing main sets. Oh, what can we do here?
This war ends today.
We can do that.
You're toast.
See, I exile their creatures, I kill 2 more, and they just draw creatures every time. What happened to all the instants that you're supposed to have at the beginning of your opening hand so that you can unload 3 or 4 instants in one turn and kill me? Instead, they're just automatically able to replace everything they want. They kill my Planeswalkers every turn.
Awaken the inferno, buddy. Victory is in your hands now.
I think I'm about to die. Alright, let's skip the Scry. Put a Planeswalker in here. We'll do Ren and Realm... Oh shoot, I can't do Ren and Realmbreaker. I don't have any untapped land because I missed a land drop.
I remember my first fight. Good thing it wasn't
got one
against
chump
me.
blocker
Get
I
out
can
there and blaze a path.
I needed more land. My opponent, who's an aggro deck, is having no problem getting all the land they want. And I think I'm dead, right? What do they have there? They have the Enchant Aura. Oh, they didn't cast it, though. So maybe I'm alive for one more turn. Just a case of not getting land. Really, I could have done much better with land. I could have had a 3/3 hexproof chump blocker.
Oh,
Could have at least
aren't
stopped
you
a couple of those from
precocious?
hitting me.
You win some, you lose some.
There, in the tangle. I must fight back. Must not forget the mission.
It doesn't do any good to attack them, but I guess we could attack there. And now all of a sudden, now that they need the instants, they get all the instants they want. And still outstrip me on land draw. These people don't even have 24 lands in their deck, and they're outstripping me on land draw. I put 2 extra lands in my deck. Wait for them to figure it out. I guess I have no choice, right? I have to block there to survive? Oh, wait, I can't block that. I'm dead. How did they do that? Double strike or trample. Double strike or trample. Can't be blocked. By powers 3 or greater this turn. What's the spell that did that? Sorry. Challenger becomes target or spell. Exile the ability. Until end of turn, you may play the card. Squeak by. Oh, there it is. Okay. +1 can't be blocked with powers 3 or greater. Alright, I'm dead. Sorry, I was just trying to figure out why it couldn't be blocked. That's why they include Cheeky House Mouse. I haven't faced Cheeky Mouse House yet. House Mouse? Mouse House? I'm learning a lot tonight. So yeah, Wizards is designing things more and more to throw a sop to commander players to give them more and more legendary creatures to be as commanders. You could use planeswalkers as commanders, but they're usually monocolor, and they don't want to restrict you that way. They want you to have multicolor commanders because that's more fun. So planeswalkers as commanders is not their idea of a solution. So while it may be true that they want to save some design space to make Magic last longer, to make Planeswalkers last longer, they may want to make Planeswalkers seem more special as well. That is also possibly a good legitimate answer that is true. But they have arranged the story and they have arranged everything else specifically to accommodate Commander format to open the way to creating a lot more legendary creatures. And Planeswalkers are taking a step aside.
You're telling me what you know. I'm tired of your secrets.
I guess we're getting rid of that one. Good call.
I will give you all the time. Please, buy us more time.
You know, I think you'd look better as a corpse. We all have things we'd rather forget.
Gee whiz. It's a
Allies
discard deck.
everywhere. Stand with us.
Get rid of their
Isn't how
planeswalker.
things were supposed to go.
Go get us some more land.
If we have the high ground.
They threw away Jaya. So is this a mirror match? Because there's already 2 planeswalkers, and I have the same 2 planeswalkers in my deck. Sheoldred's Edict could make me get rid of this, or they could make me sacrifice a planeswalker if they have Sheoldred's Edict. I have plenty of mountains now. We don't mind attacking through Tiny Bones.
Fight back.
They can chump block if they want. They do. They choose to chump block with Tiny Bones. I'm a little surprised.
We'll retake this land from Phyrexia.
I'm using my lands as a resource more than usual. Ouch. This is
Enough
usually when they
with
scoop.
the mysteries. I've come. Ah, one of your friends has to leave.
Mountains will never surrender to their invaders.
Bam.
Please. Buy
Down
us
to
more
13.
time.
Now, the story's not over with the old Planeswalker Commander thing, because they also just announced Foundations, and there's a lot of Planeswalker reprints in that. So I'm not sure how they're going to weave that into the story. But they also seem to have, at the same time as they've been doing everything else, they seem to have acknowledged that they've gone overboard on legendary creatures as well. So no sooner did they admit that they've been making too many Planeswalkers and that they were going to change things, then they're now saying, oh, no, you know what we did? We made too many legendary creatures too. Let's see, we play the land,
Allies
we'll do the 4
everywhere.
points and get electrostatic
Stand with
infantry out of
us.
the way. And that way we just have a clear hit there. And let's make them discard a card. We've got an extra
Drop
mountain
it.
here. Ooh, cut down. All right. So if they have, miraculously, another Sheoldred, we can get rid of it. And they scoop finally. Woohoo! So I'm not sure what's going to happen because Wizards of the Coast is kind of schizophrenic right now. They had their star of the show. They had their Planeswalker. That's the end of the battles. Let's go into the deck and we'll show it off one more time. That worked out pretty well every time I drew land, didn't it? And then when we got land starved, like always happens, we lose. But there weren't many other battles. Even when I'd mess up, my deck is kind of overpowered in that sense. It could help me survive a couple of basic mistakes, even just misclicking on one thing or another. It's really powerful deck. It's really fun. Going contrary, taking all these double color spells, which normally Wizards means that to hint to you that you should be playing those only in monocolor decks, and that maybe you could splash another color in there and do some of this, but you shouldn't really be trying to do 4 different colors, all of which have double color mandatory requirements. That's hell on your mana base. But I wanted to see how good we could do Urza Assembles by bringing up other Planeswalkers besides the mono white ones I'd already done. So blue tends to be too powerful in my mind, so I decided for once I'm going to leave blue out of this because that might make it too easy. And I like the combination. I like the Planeswalker choices that I ended up with here. But the reason why I'm blaming Wizards of the Coast is they made this announcement. They're like, we want Planeswalkers to be special. They're hard to design. There's limited design space. We're only going to have one Planeswalker in each set coming out from now on. So that kind of hints that as the older sets rotate out, especially the ones where they had the 5 completed Planeswalkers, we're not going to have very good Super Friends decks anymore, which is a whole type of deck that didn't used to exist in the early days. But when Planeswalkers came out and there were enough of them, suddenly we all decided, hey, we can do some Super Friends decks. And that's become a mainstay of modern standard for a long time now, for many, many years. And if they're really just going to cut things back to one Planeswalker a year, set, that doesn't give you a lot of choices, especially when they're trying to design a lot of these planeswalkers. They're not designing them with synergies in mind with the other planeswalkers. They're kind of keeping them in mind like with the legendary creatures they create to be commanders specifically. They're trying to create something unique that will gear you towards a particular kind of strategy that's kind of different or unique or fun. And so I expect that in the upcoming expansions, the planeswalkers you get will not work quite so well together, which means also we've probably seen the last of Ajani for a while, because Ajani usually has something that involves helping fellow planeswalkers. If you're only going to have one planeswalker a set, what are the odds they're going to ever return to Ajani again? I mean, he's toast under their current way of doing things. Now, again, no sooner did they do that than they announced Foundations, and we've got some teaser cards, and there's some reprinted Planeswalker cards that are in there, and we're going to be able to use them for the next 5 years, they said. So Planeswalkers aren't going away all of a sudden. They're not being reduced, and they're not really all that special anymore, because we're getting a whole ton of the reprinted ones for 5 years that we're going to be able to use. So the messaging is kind of conflicting right now, and they just got through overdoing the legendary creatures in Thunderbolt Junction, and the whole way that they weave the story through the invasion, through the results of the Phyrexian invasion, through to the Omen Pact storyline, where you don't need planeswalkers to travel through the Omen Pass, to where what we've seen in Duskmourn is people that used to have a spark, that are used to be planeswalkers, that are now reduced to being simply legendary creatures, which, oh, by the way, they are multicolor legendary creatures, and wouldn't that be just great to make them into commanders? What a coincidence. But now they've also just recently been making noises that perhaps they acknowledge they did the same thing with legendary creatures that they've been doing with planeswalkers. They've overdosed on them, and they maybe need to dial that back. So they've kind of left me uncertain exactly what direction they will be going. So it's sort of just a wait and see type of thing. But at the time that they made their announcement, I was thinking, oh, we're not going to have Super Friends decks anymore. I need to make Super Friends decks and have fun with them in that kind of way while I still can. And I had done Urza Assembles the Titans already. I thought this was a great card. I wanted to see if it was useful in any other settings. And here we left out the white Planeswalkers entirely, had a devastating deck. All we needed to do was actually draw land. And we had so many ways to hurt the opponent, to counter what they were trying to do. And even if we had land troubles and we would throw all this expensive stuff away that we kept getting at the beginning, we had ways to get it back. And ways that we could get it back even cheaper than if we had the right mana to full cast the original Planeswalker. So I like the way that I designed this, but as always, I open this up to your comments. So what are we going to do? What do we do at the end of every video? We thank our patron, Sejik. Thank you for being a Patreon. Others follow his example. We've got the Patreon link down below if you want to join. We have the request that you like and subscribe. We have the request that you look at this deck, take it out for a spin. Let me know if you're enjoying it. If there's something specifically different that you think you would do to improve it, let me know what you would change about this deck construction. Maybe I think one of the places that I could use advice, just in terms of being a Magic player in general, is how to make a better mana base. I'm not convinced this is the perfect mana base, but I needed a lot of basic mountains to work with Koth. And I only have one Raucous Theater, I think, so the Swamp Mountain thing I can only do the one of right now. And I did want to have some other basics of the other ones, so I needed to have a large basic mana base. But I did include some of the non-basics where I thought it made sense that I didn't go overboard. Hopefully I found the right balance here, but I am open to constructive criticism on that specifically. But if there's anything else that you might think that you would want to change about this, go ahead and let me know. I'm kind of happy with it. I've been using it for probably the better part of 2 weeks now. And as I said, the only thing that happens is if you win too much, suddenly you stop drawing land. Oh, so coincidentally, so very consistently, to the point that if you tallied the odds, they would be astronomical that should happen to you. But as always, I'm open to your comments. Does that happen to you as well, or is Magic just punishing me because I'm a free-to-play player? So we'll leave it there, and we'll have something new for you next time. Let me know if you liked the larger narrative about me starting to talk about greater things like the state of the game involving like the planeswalkers and the legendary creatures and how Wizards is moving towards Commander and items like that. I think I'd like to talk about that some more, but if you find that too distracting, maybe I shouldn't be doing that. So that's something new that I'm broaching, that I'm sort of opening into for the first time. So your comments would be useful on that too, I think. So thanks, everybody. Have a good one.